Hey everyone, I just backed off of this road. It doesn't really look active, but they got brand new signs on here telling you not to go down here because they're having heavy trucks coming down here. I just don't see that happening today. Even though it's a weekday, I don't think they're logging this road actually. So we came down here to do inspections today. And I want to show this really good example of a culvert pipe. This is flowing, good amount of water going through it. There is zero blockage. But here is what makes this special, this area. No blockage whatsoever. I'm going to show you what makes this special. I love showing things that are a little bit unusual when it comes to the beavers. Since I've been doing stuff like this, I've learned a lot about the beavers. And if all beavers could be like this, none of them would have to get relocated. They have a huge pond, but it's not affecting the road at all. Most beavers will block the culvert pipe, and it's pretty clear why. All they have to do is block a small pipe. The road is basically a dam already built for them. All they have to do is clog up the discharge, meaning the culvert. And you can tell this swamp is active. That's pretty fresh. They cut down this aspen tree. These chew marks over here look a bit old from earlier in the season, but I do believe they're still here. Look at the size of this beaver dam going across the whole valley. This is what beavers naturally do before humans built roads. Roads they see as a nearly completed dam. All they have to do is clog the culvert and they have a pond very quickly. They clog a culvert, a small culvert, like the one I just showed. They could have a pond in literally a day or two. When a structure like the one I'm walking on right now, in certain sections, is 8 feet above the riverbed. Something like this takes an entire season with multiple beavers building, or in many cases, this takes many seasons. They'll start off with a fairly small pond the first winter, and they'll add to it as time goes on. If every beaver decided to do this, I have no idea why they would decide to do this. It's so much more work than clogging the culvert. But there is no reason whatsoever. They're not affecting the road. Yes, this dam theoretically could fail and take out the road, but it's very unlikely. Beaver dams have a lesser percentage of failing than a man-made dam. And what I mean by that is there are millions of beaver dams in the world. There is not millions of man-made dams. And the failure rate of a beaver pond, maintained ones anyways, are much less likely. Look at this, there's their lodge. Looks like recent improvements on it. They have a very, very big pond. There's no reason the loggers would ever mess with this pond because it's not affecting the road. This is a very strong dam. This grass helps hold it together. Eventually trees are gonna start growing on this. Give this another decade or two, you're not even gonna recognize this really as a beaver dam. There's beaver dams in the world that are so big. Look, there's the stream. There's beaver dams that are so big out there, people don't even recognize them as beaver dams. They just think it's a hill, when in fact it's a beaver dam that could be hundreds of years old. They just added to it over the decades, and it just literally became a hill with trees growing on it, holding back a pond. And I love to see stuff like this, but this is a lot of work. That's a simple reason why they clog culverts. This right here is a lot of work, but why would they build this literally 50 feet from a culvert when it would have been so much easier? Now, this pond wouldn't exist if they did something like that. The water level of this pond, I'm looking back at the road, is at least 12 feet above the road. Now that we walked up a little hill, including the dam and everything. This is really, really cool to see. I love that. And look at this. There's a actual good island there. I would love to go camping on an island like that, right next to a beaver lodge. That is super cool, actually. I really like that. But I am noticing one thing about this beaver swamp. I know I showed something over there that's very fresh. I'm not seeing anything else fresh, unfortunately. One thing this beaver swamp is lacking, and who knows, this might be only maintained now as a secondary pond. It's lacking their favorite food. I see very, very little willow tree. All the willow tree is growing between the dam and the road. There's nothing actually up here. And that's not a problem. Beavers will do hard work of moving it up here. I just don't see really any chew marks or anything super, super recent. But I love showing this example of a beaver pond that's not gonna have to be removed. It's literally not affecting anything. Now, you can make beavers build structures like this. I really wish the park rangers and logging companies would promote more of that. So, I don't think this is the case. This is in the middle of the wilderness, middle of nowhere. You're unlikely to see a vehicle on these roads for days at a time, unless they're associated in some way with the logging company, or it's a hunter or someone camping. We passed some hunters yesterday, but they're far and few between. But you can put a fence through this valley and even jam your own sticks against it, and beavers will start building a dam there because they see something that's easier for them to build. So if you have beavers clogging a culvert and you completely unclog it, you can go into their empty pond and build a fence across the valley, and they'll actually put sticks and reinforce it as needed to actually hold the pond back. Now, in many cases, the beavers will do as you want, but they will also clog the culvert. By doing so, it's less likely they will clog the culvert, but them doing this themselves is very rare and actually really interesting and cool. Every beaver's different. Every beaver has a different set of knowledge. Beavers get smarter with dam building as they get older, especially if you keep removing their blockages. A young beaver, they're going to build back better every single time because they think their dam's failing. In a beaver's brain, if it sees you unclogging it or sees an excavator removing their dam, it doesn't click in their head what's actually happening. They still think it's naturally failing, and they make it better and better. But I find this really, really interesting. They're very quick builders. A tree like this, they can cut this down in under an hour. One beaver will cut down hundreds of trees in 1 year. They'll knock down these bigger trees like this if they need material. They would rather cut down smaller trees where they can drag the entire thing at once, but if they don't have that, they'll do this. I love seeing stuff like this. That is awesome. Did this tree here fall over by the wind, or did beavers knock this one over into the road? Looks like it was beavers, not a storm. Even though we had a windstorm yesterday, that's not the case. And that's been down for a while. I can tell by the leaves around it in the road. But I like showing things like this. This was cool. Thanks for watching, everyone. And have a great day. They even have it, the drainage ditch is even going to collect seepage from that dam. It doesn't affect the road at all. You can barely see it from the road, even this time of year with no leaves.